Hello, this is Fred, your friendly neighborhood realtor here in Orlando, Florida. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of those things that I don't think most people want to hear about, but it is very important to you and your home, and just especially if you ever want to put it on the market or anything, because you know, as soon as you buy a home, there's going to come a day in which you're going to need to sell it. And what I'm going to talk to you today about is those things that actually lower your property value. And the reason I want to do it now is because I want you to get ahead of these things so that when it comes to that time of day, for whatever reason, you need to sell your home, that you're able to do it and get the max amount of money that you can for your home. Now, first off, we're going to talk about, it's going to be approximately 15 things. The first thing we're going to talk about is delayed or neglected maintenance. Now, if you have those things that just, you know, you've put off doing in hopes that, you know, it's like, okay, it would go away, but it really doesn't go away. Well, the problem with that is this. When it comes time to actually fixing it, your situation may be a lot worse. So if you have anything that you think that, okay, it's a small thing, but yeah, it's going to get bigger slowly. It does get bigger. Then you would definitely want to make sure you take care of it. And sometimes those can come in with, you know, water leak damage or anything like that, because if you have a water leak and you don't take, you know, you stop the moisture coming in, but then you never cleaned up the moisture or the mold or anything else, then that's going to be an issue, especially later on. The next thing is going to be sloppy home improvement projects. You know, such things as if you have uneven deck boards or railings, warped flooring, crooked tiling, then, you know, those are things that are going to kind of like decrease your home value later on. So you want to try to make sure that if you do it yourself, you do a professional job at it. And what I mean by professional, because obviously you're not getting paid for it, is that the best possible job you can do. Next thing you want to look at is the outdated kitchens and bathrooms. We all don't think about it, but then, you know, you go into that home and you look, and it's like you can look at it and you can tell, okay, that home was built in the 1990s and so was the kitchen. Or better yet, I can remember back in the 90s when you would go into a home and they had the bathrooms, it looked just like it did back in the 50s and 60s. You don't want that. So it is encouraged that, you know, periodically you just update your home. It's going to be nicer when you're living in it, you're staying in it right then, but then later on it's going to be updated, it's going to look nice. People are going to really, because they're going to think, okay, you don't have to go in and do it themselves. Because if they have to do it themselves, they're going to want to pay less. Now, the other thing of it is damaged roofs. You see it a lot with, of course, if you have a shingled roof, they got damage due to the storms or anything like that nature. Tile roofs, a little bit more durable, but still you can have broken, cracked tiles. If those are noticeable, especially if somebody's doing a home inspection, something that could definitely decrease your value of your home. Now, earlier we talked about leaks, mold and mildew damage. Besides just the fact that if you have mold in your home, it's going to potentially cause you respiratory issues, it can cause a lot of other issues. So if you do get a water leak, you know, make sure, you go to that extra expense, pull your wallboard down and make sure you don't have additional damage behind there that needs to be taken care of. All right, now if your home was built before 1980, number 6 is going to be asbestos. This used to be a product that they used to use in the homes years ago. Now, if you do have asbestos and it was built before 1980, then you're going to have to disclose this on your disclosures when you actually list your home for sale. And that is going to affect the value of your home. Number 7, and I'm not trying to pick on smokers or dog owners or anything like that nature, but everybody's been into a home at one point in time when they either had, you could tell that somebody smoked in the house, or that they had animals, and sometimes lots of animals, because all the hair dandruff from the dogs or cats gets in there. Cats are notoriously known for using it all over for a bathroom. Sorry, folks. But those are things that if you smoke, I encourage you to clean it up. Smoke outside as much as you can. You don't want your house smelling with smoke, because one day you're going to want to sell it, and it's going to be even harder to take care of then. If you are a person that owns and you rent out the place and you have unhelpful tenants, then by all means, that could be something that's also going to decrease your home value. And it could be something that's going to also mean if you're trying to sell it and you have unhelpful tenants in it, you won't be able to sell it. So if you have the tenants, I mean, maybe they're going to, maybe they're going to have to do things to make where it smells inside. We talked about that. Don't keep it clean. If they don't clean the bathroom properly, you're going to get those mold stains. Those things are not going to help you. Now, the next category is going to be Mother Nature can also not help you. Now, here in the United States, we all have areas that are prone to certain things. Here in Florida, hurricanes. We're looking at a potential storm coming through this weekend. Not a hurricane, thank goodness, but they're trying, I think they're calling it a tropical cyclone right now. But natural disasters can also reduce the value of your home, especially if you have damage that you have not fixed. Other things is if you live in flood zones. Now, if you are in a high risk flood zone, you may need to buy flood insurance. If it's a federally backed loan, you will need to do so. And I've had clients that that's happened to. At the time, it wasn't very expensive or anything, but they were perfectly happy. They liked the home they were getting. So, but they did need to buy flood insurance because I think it was on the 20-year flood zone. Okay. Now, changes in real estate market. Now, there is the old supply and demand. If you remember in school, you learned if the supply is great, but the demand is higher than the supply, then it's going to push prices higher. Now, if your supply is high, but your demand is lower, it's going to reduce your rates of your, reduce the home values. So that's going to be a big play. Now, if you think about it back in a couple of years ago when the interest rates started going up, now, yes, we've been in a market where the housing costs have been so low, or the housing inventory has been so low that it did push the prices up continuously, but a lot of times those prices will go down. And it was harder to sell homes when the markets have gone up. Now, the other thing to look at is the neighborhood. There are factors within your neighborhood that can bring the prices down. Noise pollution. And what I mean by that is, say you're near a park. Say you got a YMCA nearby with the ball fields, or airports nearby. So every morning you wake up as your plane goes soaring by. Well, that's not going to help the value of your home. Also, proximity to things that look or smell bad. Now, if you happen to be located near a landfill, there's a good chance that you're going to occasionally get those smells. And I've seen where there's apartments that are built right near the landfills here in the Orange County area. Power plants don't look great. If you happen to live in a certain area where, say, there's a lot of strip clubs nearby, people don't necessarily want to go into there. Cemeteries, smelly farms, paper plants. I remember that as a kid because it was where I lived in Virginia. There were a couple of counties over there was a paper plant. We used to have to go through that to get to some areas to see other relatives. If you have registered sex offenders in the neighborhood, those are things that can actually reduce it. Abandoned properties, factories. and junkyards. Anything like that nearby can reduce the value of your home. And lastly, we're going to talk about is if there's a lot of foreclosures in your neighborhood, especially when the appraisers go and do those comps, that's going to actually not bode well for you. And if your house happens to be one of those in foreclosure, maybe you won't care if the value is low, but the thing of it is it's not going to make it any easier to try to offload that property. And maybe you won't care, but the thing of it is if that home was in a foreclosure, then that's going to also show up because it could actually, sometimes people don't leave them in the best of shape. So those are some of the things for you to think about when you're buying your property or when you own your home that can reduce your value. Now, if you want to know a little bit more about the value of your home, we'll be glad to help you out with that. We work with buyers and sellers here locally. Our contact information is below. Now, say you have a comment reference this video, or you say you got another idea or something else that you think will decrease the value of your home. Leave it in the comments below for everybody else. And while you're down there, make sure you hit subscribe, the bell notifications as well, so that you get notified when we produce new videos. Now, any real estate questions or needs, be glad to contact us either directly or put them in the comments, and we'll be glad to help you out. All right, thank you and have a good day.